Hi, good evening, everyone. Is it audible to everyone? Can you hear me? Yeah, the good evening. Good evening, everyone. Yes, before understanding today's concepts, let's try to recollect it, what we had it, and then we go ahead the recollecting that the yesterday concepts, and then we'll go ahead like today's some more new concepts on the CloudWatch. Yeah, the what we were understanding yesterday. Yesterday, two concepts that's about metrics. Yes, how do we collect it and how do we track the metrics in the dashboard? Yes, that is one concept which we are understanding. And another one, which we are going through that alarms. Yes, how do we define that? If the metric is reached the particular condition, then how do we perform that actions? Actions with the notification mechanism. Yeah, we can trigger that email notification, or we can perform that on the base of the metric. Metric is belong to that which resource, that resource related actions. Yeah, there are the two concepts that we are trying to understand it from the CloudWatch. Yes, if you just quickly go through that. So let me. Yeah, so yesterday which you are understanding about the metric concept. Yes, how do I identify the metrics on the base of the resources, and then how do we add that metrics to the dashboards? Yes, we were defining the dashboard. In that dashboard, maybe I have deleted that. We were adding about it some metrics, and another activity which are doing about it, alarm. Yeah, alarm creation. But whenever we are creating that alarm, so we should know that the three statuses. One is as we are talking about it, alert mode, that is yes in alert, or that is in yeah, the alarm is not triggered, yes, everything is okay status. And another one is which we have, that is insufficient data. Yeah, insufficient data is in case that resource is not reachable to collect the data to perform that matrix condition, then it is going to mark that alarm as an insufficient data. But if it is alarm is triggered, yes, that is yeah, in alarm, which we can say that. Then what is that action that we want to perform it? We can define that alarm actions. Yeah, there are the two concepts, alarms and metrics, which we are trying to understand it. Yes, is it clear about it? Any queries, questions? Please let me know before moving to the next concept. That's about the events. First, we'll try to understand it. Events, how do we define that? Yes, what is the difference between that alarms and events? Yeah, we should know about it, events. And the next concept about the logs. Yeah, any queries, questions from the previous section or yesterday's section? Please let me know before starting the today's concept. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, now let's look into that next concept. Yeah, alarms also, as we were talking about it yesterday, alarm states, so that is a workers state, insufficient data, and alarm state. And whenever we are defining that alarm, the period which we need to define it, that is the length of the time in seconds to evaluate the metric, and as well as high resolution custom metrics. Yeah, which can be used like 10 seconds or 30 seconds, but this will be in the real time we use it, but don't enable that the detailed monitoring that is cost effective. Yeah, the next concept, let's look into that, the events. What is the event and what is the difference between alarm and event? Yeah, suppose the events, if you just talk at some real cases, the EC2 instance, some state has been changed. Yesterday we were defining that alarm is on the metric based. A CPU utilization is reached at the particular condition, or network in, or network out, or disk read operation, disk write operation. Those kind of the metrics which we can use it, and we can define the condition and condition based action, and as well as notification also. But suppose you need to start that EC2 instance the early morning, like 8 a.m. Yeah, 8 a.m. Every day you need to start the instance. Then how do you start that instance? On the particular time based. Normally, how time based, how to define it? On the Linux system point of view, which we have is cron job. Yeah, if the Linux system is up and running, then you can define the cron jobs. But here is you need to start the instance at the particular time, or you need to stop it that instance, or like let's take it, instance state has been changed. That is up to that so far it is up and running, but it is suddenly stopped. But we need to get the email notification. Then how to get it the email notification? In the alarm, we have the notification, but metric based notifications we have. But here, state based state, that is running state, or is it a failed state, or is it in the stopped mode, or is it a terminated, is it rebooted state? Yes, on the base of the state, then we would like to perform the action. That is, we say that event pattern. Yeah, so here we can use it, the schedule based activities. That is like as a cron job, how do we have this on the Linux system? The same way, we can launch the instances, or we can terminate the instances on the base of the time. Then we can use it schedule based. And as another example, which you're talking about it, yes, the EC2 instance has been, state has been changed. Our auto scaling group, some activity, that means some instance has been down from the EC2 instance. Then you need to get the email notification. Our instance has been added in the auto scaling group. Then you need to get some notification or some action which has to be performed. So if you have these kind of resource based events, resource status based events, then we can use it CloudWatch events. So two patterns we can apply that. One is a schedule based, that is a time based. Second one is event pattern based. Yeah, example, code pipeline state changes, or EC2 instance state changes, or auto scaling group state changes. Our volume has been deleted, then what do you want to do that? Yeah, if you have any kind of the events which are happened on the resources, then if you like to perform the notification, or if you like to perform, what is the target? Targets are the different. But first of all, on which condition does do you want to perform the action? Yesterday, action we were understanding, but that is on the base of the metrics. But today we are trying to understand again that actions, but that is on the base of either time-based or resource event-based. But what is that action that you want to perform? It actions, yes, that's we can call it the lambda functions. We are calling that another service, that is lambda functions. You can send the message to the queue, that is SQS, or you can send the mail, that is notification service, or you can send the data to the Kinesis. Kinesis is kind of the big data kind of the service. Yes, if you have that kind of the service to invoke it, yes, you can send the messages to the big data streams. Yeah, these are all like actions which you want, I mean, which do you want to perform it? Yeah, CloudWatch event creates a small JSON document to give the information about the change. Yes, it is going to give the JSON document to give the information about the change. Yes, the change what is happened. If you would like to know that, yes, it is going to generate JSON document for it. Yeah, let me show this way. Do you have that these event based the activities to perform it in the CloudWatch? Then we'll try to do that, some small activity on it. Yeah, as we are talking about it, CloudWatch is specific to the region. So please make sure that in which region that you are planning to create that event. Yes, you have to be in that region. Then event section. Yes, you can see this events and rules. Yeah, actually it is redirecting to that event bridge, but let's go to that event rules page. Yeah, so here we can create a rule, the events rules in the CloudWatch itself. We are in that. Let's observe that while creating rules, what all the options we have. Yeah, what all options we have? Those is one is you need to define that event source. Yeah, when do you want to trigger that, or when do you want to invoke this target? So do you want to invoke this target on the basis of the schedule time? So the schedule time you are defining here, you see that fixed rate of every 5 minutes. Yes, 5 minutes are like every hour based or day based. If others like same activity repeating that on the basis of some interval which you can use it. Or so and so particular time you need to perform that. Then we know about it cron job activity in our Linux is, so that's cron tab we can define it and we can trigger the target. Yeah, so here the scheduler based actions, if you'd like to perform it, how do you perform it in the AWS cloud is, yes, CloudWatch is providing that event based, that is a scheduler based, the actions to perform it. So yesterday, alarm is on the base of the metric runtime statistics, but this is a scheduler based. And another option which we are trying to understand about it, event pattern based. So event pattern, if you just try to understand it, first you need to select it on which service do you want to apply this pattern. So do you want to use it EC2 service, or do you want to use it auto scaling, or do you want to use it RDS, or the CloudFront, CloudWatch itself. So we have so many. I mean, what are the services that you would like to, or that's required for us? Yes, you can identify that the service, and we can go for that defining the events. Yes, now we have selected service name is EC2. But on that EC2 instance, what are the different event types are available? Yes, you can find it on the base of this service. List of all the event types here. Suppose if I'd like to, yes, EBS volume notification. So in case the EBS volume, any event is happened on the EBS volume, then do you want to get the notification? Yeah, suppose in this EC2, I have selected EBS volume. But this event, I mean, yeah, this event to apply to that, the which volume, any volume, or do you have that any specific volume? So we need to go to that about the volume section. That volume, if you have this any specific volume, that volume ARN, we need to define it. Or if I would like to perform it on any volume in this region, then I can define that this event type. And on this EBS, okay, you are saying about it any volume, but what is the event type? Do you want to perform it any event or specific event on the EBS? But what are the specific event on the EBS? So whenever that EBS volume has been attached, do you want to perform this trigger target option? Or whenever do you create a volume, do you want to perform that? triggering the target option, or deleting volume, or modifying volume, or reattaching the volume. Yes, at what time do you want to perform that? This target invocation. So now here we have selected EBS volume notification. On the base of the EBS volume, there are all the events which are available. But if I have selected that, suppose a snapshot notification, that means on the snapshot, if you'd like to perform this, the actions, then you can select it EBS snapshot notification. But which event is copy snapshot or create a snapshot or shared snapshot? So do you want to perform it on this event, any result, either failed or succeeded? So on the base of this, the requirement, that is a service, in that service, what all the event types are available? Suppose now, let's talk it on the instance state changed. Yes, spot instance based we have, or you see that? Yes, here EC2 instance state change notification. So if I have selected about that EC2 instance state, but what are the different states? Are any state do you want to perform that activity, or specific state? A specific state. What is the specific state? If the state is in that pending or running or shutting down or stopped or stopping or terminated, okay, instance has been stopped, then I would like to trigger the event. But any instance or specific instance? Okay, let's define any instance. Or if you have the specific instance, that's an instance ID, you can take it and you can define it. So how do you get it that instance IDs? Yeah, if you have selected about that instance in the EC2, we'll get it IDs, right? Events are very, very important. Yes, real-time notifications to get into that. So on auto scaling groups or EC2 instances or RTS point of view or storages point of view, yes, which service that's which you are using? Yes, on any service which you can configure it, which is available from AWS. So identifying that, and at what time do you want to get the notification? Yes. So knowing that those notifications and working on it. Okay, so here let me define any instance. I hope so we don't have any instances in our the Mumbai region. Okay, I don't need that stop. Let me go for any instance running. That means any instance which has launched, then we'll get the notification. Yeah, fine. So EC2 instance state change. The state is running. If any instance which is coming to the running, then what do you want to do that? Here you can define the targets. But in the targets, it is kind of yesterday which you're trying to understand that's actions, right? We have the notification actions and as well as the EC2 actions or auto scaling group actions. Yeah, but here we see this standard targets. Yeah, here, do you want to stream the data to the Kinesis? Kinesis, as we are talking about it, big data service. Or do you want to invoke that any Lambda function? Yes, if you have this any Lambda function, that function you can define it. And whenever this event is triggered, then that function which will be invoked. Or do you want to send the notification? Or do you want to send the message to the queue? Or do you want to run that any command? Or even that you can see that EC2 related. Or do you want to create a snapshot of it? Or do you want to reboot the instance? Or do you want to stop the instance? Or do you want to terminate the instance? So what do you want to do that? Yes, on the base of the requirement which we can identify and we can send the notification. Suppose here, if the EC2 instance is running, then we need to get that email notification. So yesterday we were defining that alarms and email, right? So this is a topic which I've created. Yes, now any EC2 instance which has been launched, then I will get it email notification. Yeah, so this way we can define it. Now you see that here it has been generated there's a JSON document. A source is on AWS EC2. Detail type is EC2 instance state change notification, and in that also state which we have configured, that is running. But we didn't apply to that particular instance, any instance. Yeah, now let's go for the configuring the details, and let's define the rule name. This is running instance state alarm, state event. Yeah, you can define the name for it and the description and make sure that is enabled. And let's create a role. Event is the simple way to create it. Yeah, now any instance which has been launched, as EC2 instance state change notification, if any instance which has been identified as running, then it is going to send the email notification. This is the target which is defined. So let me launch one instance over here. This is just event. Yeah, Amazon Linux AMI. So let's take it Linux 2. Instance type, that is D2 micro. Key pair. So what is the key pair? That's where you're having. Let me create a new key pair anyway. I'm not sure whether I'm having it or not. This one, or let me define the CloudWatch. Okay, so network settings and select, let me check it, security group. So we have that database security group demo. Anyway, let me use it, one of that, launch wizard 2. And yeah, the launch the instance. Yeah, now whenever that instance comes to the running state, now it is in the pending state. Yes, even that we can track the pending state also, right? In the event, yes, any instance which is in the pending, then do you want to, yes, perform the some action, or instance is in the shutting down state, then suppose if you have those any volumes, that's volume you need to take the backup of it. Yes, you can trigger that the volume, the snapshot of taking on it. Yes, we have EC2 snapshot creation, right? So on that EC2 instance, so that's the volume. If we define it, the volume ID. So this is a volume, the ID, which we can say, and we can, it is asking that's ARN also, right? I can get it, the volume ARN. What's this? This is a snapshot ID. This is a volume ID. Still, it is not created. Let me just refresh. So ARN, where is this? Let me select that volume ID to get it more details of this volume. Yeah, on the base of the service which you are selecting about it, the service related information which we need to provide it. So here, do you see this? Anywhere ARN of this. No, it is not showing. Outpost ARN, but it is not created so far. So what is the status of this volume? Let me check it. The status, it has come to the used, in use, snapshot, availability zone, the multi-availability zone, name of it. Yeah, let me go back to that. CloudWatch. Suppose here, the what is that? The which we are expecting about it is, yes, one, let me check it first. So any instance which has been created, we are expecting about the email notification. Yes, instance has come to the running state. So whether I have received that email or not, I can check it in my email. Let me refresh this alarm. So this is the target which are defined. And yes, the yesterday we have configured this the email ID, and which the where it has been defined as a subscription and it has been confirmed, but we didn't define any policies and all that. Anyway, let's go back to this. Let's check it. Do we have this any logs which have been added? No. Delivery status logging, it is not enable that. Okay. Yeah, if we have configured about this the delivery status logging, then we will get it when that the email notification that I have been sent it. So all the email notification, but it is not enabled. So that is let me check it. Type standard display name. This is email logs. Let me save the changes. Already that instance has been sent it, right? Yeah, now you can verify about it whether the email once it has been configured that's received or not. But normally if the delivery status logging has been enabled, then we will get it all that delivery statuses as well as. So successful delivery sample rate and as well as the failed deliveries on the base of IAM role or successful deliveries, all that logging information that is going to display that, but it is not enabled. That's why we are not getting that. But to the my email ID, I got it that. So let me check it that whether I got it or not. Yesterday, did you configure about that email notification? I have some insufficient data notifications. Yeah, I got it at 751 notification. That is about AP South 1. Yeah, state has come to the running. The particular instance ID is BD 900. Let me check it that BD 900 is instance ID. B74F. Yes, B74F. BD900B74F. Yes, this is the email notification which I got it from this the alarm that is event which are defined saying about it. Instance has come to the running state. Yeah, so like this you will get it the notification. This is a SNS which are defined. Like that, if you have configured about that lambda functions invocation or the other Yeah, the targets which are required for this rule. Yes, at any time you can edit this rule. Yeah, you can add that multiple targets also. Suppose as we are talking about it on the EC2, if it is the volume notification, so any volume has been created or attached or deleted, or instead of this one, so what is the recommended option is EC2 instance is shutting down. So whenever it is going to shutting down, yes, if you like to need to take that any snapshot, yes, you can define that on the, let me show that instance state change notification. And what is the state is, so whenever it is coming to the shutting down, then we need to take the snapshot of it. Yeah, easy to create snapshot. And here which volume, that volume ID we can take it. Let's go back to the volume section. Yeah, it is asking us volume ID itself, not volume URL. Yes, this is the volume ID which you can copy it and you can specify that volume ID. Then whenever the instance is getting shutting down, then automatically this volume which will be taken the backup. And as well as it is going to send the email notification as well as sending the email notification and as well as the creating a snapshot on this volume. So when it is going to do instance if it comes to shutting down. Yeah, whenever automatically this instance has come to the shutting down state, then it is going to create a snapshot and as well as we will get the email notification. Yeah, that is the advantage of these events. So like yesterday we are talking about it alarm on the metric based. That is metric is runtime information. And today we are talking about it. Yes, the state has been changed. Our service types. Yes, you can find it first service type. On that service type, what is the event that you want to yeah, the event types we can identify it for that particular service. Then we can define the targets. So now if we if I shut down this instance, so if I go to this instance section, and if I mark this one as shutting down, stopping is a different. Okay, let's do that. But stopping is not going to invoke it, but we need to define terminate. If I but I need this instance, I will I need to use it for the logs also. I'm not going to terminate it, but you can verify in case if it is a terminate, whenever it is coming to the shutting down state, automatically snapshot which will be created. And as well as you will get the notification through this SNS notification system, which are configured yesterday, the topic. That is alarm send mail. And in this alarm send mail, what is the subscription? Yes, you can define the multiple subscription, multiple email IDs to get it. Yes, you can define it. Or not only email. If you like to send that, like, I mean, there are the different protocols which is supporting. Suppose if you like to call that other URL, that is HTTP URL, if you would like to invoke it. Yes, you can, if that particular event is triggered, then it is going to send the email notification and as well as it is going to trigger that URL as well as. Yeah, that is HTTP based or HTTPS based URL. Or do you want to send the message to the queue or SMS? That is, yeah, SMS message. So SNS is email notification. This is SMTP protocol. And we can send that SMS messages also to the mobile numbers. Yes, what is the endpoint? That's endpoint. A mobile number that can receive the notification from Amazon SNS. Yeah, you can add it the subscriptions, the multiple subscriptions which we can create it in that topic. Then finally, we can use it this topic at the target level. So whenever we are defining the rules, we use the Suppose if you just observe that here, yeah, SNS topic, what are the topic we are using? That a topic, what are the subscriptions it is having? To all the subscriptions that will be triggered. Yes, sending the email is one subscription. Or if you like to trigger other URLs, yes, we can do that. Or do you want to send a message to the mobile number? Yes, we can send it. Yeah, multiple subscriptions which we can define it in one topic. Is it clear about it? Defining the events. How got the difference between the events and metrics? The very important knowing about it, the difference between the alarms and events. Alarms on the basis of the metrics which will configure it, and the events on the basis of the event pattern which will define it. Are you clear this? Yeah, configure that email notification and try to test it all these notifications. Yes, you will get it whether you are getting the notifications or not. You can just check it, or you can try with that other options and you can just check with that whether alarm is triggered or event is triggered, the actions are performing it or not. Now let's move into that another section that's about the logs. So what about these logs and how do we, I mean, when do we use it, or in which context do we use the logs? Suppose first let me talk with the scenario, then we go ahead configuring about the log groups. So what is the scenario we have is, suppose this is the EC2 instances which is running. Let me log into this instance. I'm going to log into this instance to get it some scenario. Username EC2 and what is the key pair? So I have defined cw.pem file, right? Yeah. Let's connect to the instance. Okay, so we are connected. Now the requirement is, so you need to check that kernel related log messages. So do you have any errors or not? Do you have any failures about the kernel related? Yes. Or bootstrap related or service related logs? So what is the log file? That's where how this is. So anyone can you ping that the log file for it? Yeah, system level, any kind of the errors to track it. So what is on this Red Hat based systems or Amazon Linux based systems? What is the file that is available is where log messages. So this is the log file which we have. So all the system D related, almost all the log messages that we can have it in this log file. This is the main process. System D is the main root process. Yeah, during that, the system initialization time or the network initializations or system process initialization, almost the important kernel logs and bootstrap related the logs that will be written to this log file. Okay, but each and every time coming to the system and watching about these logs, that is very difficult, right? Suppose you have the 10 systems. In all the systems, suppose you have some issues, going to that each system and checking about the log files, that takes a lot of the time. but we would like to aggregate it all these logs into the one centralized system. If you have the 10 systems or the 20 system, that is about your choice. But what you need to do is you need to collect all these logs, and you need to export, you need to save it, because we don't know that how long time that EC2 instance is available for us, right? Maybe at any time this can be terminated. At any time it can be, yes. So as like auto scaling features point of view, okay, you can have it to some the desired instances, but whenever it is moving that minimum to the maximum in the auto scaling group, there's some instances which will be launched, some instances which will be terminated. But logs, we should not lose it. So how to collect these logs and how do we store it into the CloudWatch? Yes, now the concept is how to collect the logs of these EC2 instances and how do we aggregate it, all these logs in the one centralized storage system. As we are understanding that S3 is one of the best storage, right? Yes, we can store it, the log files over there. Yeah, now how to collect the logs of this EC2 instance to the CloudWatch. So that is a concept. Now we are going to look into that. Yeah, the log groups, but by default, if you just observe here, do you have any log groups? Let me check it. Okay, we don't have those any log groups. But now we are going to configure that the var log messages, whatever the log file we have. So this EC2 instance related, that log file, whatever the content we have, that content we need to stream it to this CloudWatch logs. Streaming, this is the data streaming, log files streaming. Yeah, how do we stream it that? So before going to the defining that, we need to install some the packages in the EC2 instance. We'll come back. But before that, we need to have that. First of all, this EC2 instance is able to connect to the CloudWatch logs. It should have the permission. It should have the permission is nothing but we need to go for the creating a role, right? Role. So EC2 has to push that logs to the CloudWatch logs group. Yes, EC2 should have the permissions to access the CloudWatch logs. So for this, what we need to do this is first let's go to the IAM. We need to create one role for it. Let me create a role. So I'm going to create a role. This is on which is which purpose we are going to create this role? For the AWS service. Which service? We are going to use this role for the EC2 instance. Yeah, select the EC2 instance. Let's go to the next. But what is the policy? As we're talking about the policy is the permission. Which policy that do you want to attach it? Yeah, we would like to attach it CloudWatch. Now let me search for this CloudWatch related policies. Yeah, here you see this CloudWatch logs related full access, provides full access to CloudWatch logs. Now we are going to give the permission to the EC2 instance so it can access the CloudWatch logs. Yes, this is the policy which is required for the EC2 instance. Yes, select that the policy that is a CloudWatch logs full access. Let's go to the next and define the role name. Role name, this is CloudWatch logs. Yeah, EC2 to CloudWatch logs full access. Yeah, let's create a role. Yeah, now this role we need to attach to the EC2 instance. Yeah, the role has been created. Now let's go back to the EC2 section. Yes, to this EC2 instance, we need to attach that role. Let's go to that security section and modify IAM role. But still we didn't add it any role. Let's go for that. Adding, yeah, this is the role just we have created. EC2 CloudWatch Logs full permission. Let's select the role which we have created. But this role should have the permission to the CloudWatch Logs full access. That is the permission we are getting. And we are assigning to the EC2 instance. Now EC2 is able to access the CloudWatch the CloudWatch, yeah, the logs. Okay, this is first and foremost that is required. That EC2 instance should define with role, which is the policy that is CloudWatch logs full access. Okay, what next? But by whenever you configure the role, automatically EC2 is going to send that the logs to the CloudWatch. No, still it is not sending that. Now let's go back to the EC2 instance. Yes, this is about our EC2 instance, and here we need to install the package and we need to do some configurations. So what is the package that we need to go for installing this is AWS logs package. So you can search for that, the M repository, M install. So the package name is AWS logs. Let me try it. This is a package name. Yeah, that is a package name, AWS logs. Yeah, that is installed. Now this AWS logs package is going to helping that pushing, we need to run that one service. So this log service, we need to run it. Yeah, that is, let me start about that. Systemctl status of the logsd or AWS logsd, which one? Yeah, AWS logsd, I hope so. Yeah, now it is showing about it. This is inactive. So this service, we need to start it. So let's go for starting this service. As whenever we start this service, let's check it. I've got the logs of this instance. No, still we didn't get it. Yeah, on the EC2 instance, we have installed one package and we have started the service, logs service, but still there is no usage. Then, so what is the configuration file that we have the says? So if you just go back to that etc folder, so here you see that's AWS logs folder. So this is about the logs etc file. And here are two files, the configuration file, awscli.conf, awslogs.conf. First, let's see that's awscli.conf. Let's use the sudo vim awscli.conf. So here, you need to first specify the region information. Yes, what is the region that we are using? So we are using the Mumbai region, which is having that AP-South 1, AP South 1. So let's define that region over here. AP South 1. So that is the region which we need to define it. Let's save this. Okay, now in the AWS CLI.conf file, we have defined the region. Yes, to which region it has to upload the logs. But what is the log file that we want to stream it? Which log file related content? So we have the var log messages, right? That is a log file. And what is the interval that we want to use it to stream that log file data to the CloudWatch? And what is the date and time format? Yes, we have some configurations of the file, which you can define it in the AWS logs.conf file. Yes, if you open this file. Yeah, this is like as a CloudWatch logs agent configuration. But before this configuration, let's observe that I've got it still, the logs after defining the region. No, still we didn't get it, the region. Region we have changed to the Mumbai region, but still logs are not updated. Okay, cool. So let's go back. Yes, this is the CloudWatch logs file. So now here you will see this sample one, but these are all like which are commented lines in the file. But in the last section, you see that one log group which has been defined. So this is a group notation. So how do we define the group here? So which starts with the square brackets. Yes, these are within that square brackets, you can define the group name. Yeah, now we are going to collect that var log messages. Or if you like to define the custom name, you can define the custom name also. This is a group name. It is kind of, yes, where you can define the set of properties of this, the group. Yeah, this is a group name. And this group, what is the date and time format that you want to follow that? Yes, you can see that there are all the different attributes like year if you would like to specify it, or month if you would like to specify it. And yeah, the caps B, small b. So caps B, which is going to give the complete month detail. Small b is going to give that a 3-letter representation of the month. So percentage D, that is the day of the month, the week, the day, that is full name of that, the weekday. So there are the notations which we can use it whenever we are defining the date and time format. Yes, this is the date and time format, or if you like to change it, you can change it the format also. And which log file related data that you want to stream it. So what is the log file which we are talking that? Var log messages. Or if you have other file also, you can define it. Multiple log streams, you can configure it. So the same format, you can take it one more copy, and you can define if you have another log file which is required to track into that CloudWatch logs. Yes, you can add it one more thing. You can define that's a logical name here, and then date and time format, and which log file that's data that you want to get it, and the buffer duration. So buffer duration is by default 5000 milliseconds. So this is the interval, the buffer duration. So 5000 milliseconds. So a batch is buffered for the buffer duration amount of the time, or 32 KB of the log events. Suppose it has to update that, right? From the EC2 instance, that's log events, whatever the happening that, or whatever it is writing to the log file, it has to update to the CloudWatch logs. But what is the size it is taking that whenever the data logs we have 32 KB, then it is going to update to the CloudWatch, or it is going to take that the interval of every 5000 milliseconds. This is a default time, and the minimum also which we need to define, that is a value. So defaults to 5000 milliseconds, and its minimum value is 5000. Yeah, that is buffer time. That is to update that data from the log file to the CloudWatch. And what is the stream name? Yes, how do you want to identify that in the CloudWatch? Yes, on the base of the instance ID. Yeah, here you can define log stream name field if you just observe that. Yes, log stream name, that is the instance ID. defaults to EC2 instance ID, or you may use it host name also. So name of the destination log stream, you may use it host name to use the target machine's host name, or you can use it, but by default it is configured with instance ID. Yeah, like that each property that is clearly explained in the comment, which you can refer it, and we can configure the stream, that is a one log file. Yeah, this log file related content that will be streamed. Yes, as a with the instance ID and initial position. Yes, what is the initial position? Do you want to start off the file or end of the file? So I will talk about this one once it is streamed to the CloudWatch. Start of the file is nothing but yes, oldest events that will be in the top, right? Oldest events that is in the top. Our latest events, if we need the top, then what you need to define that end of the file. Where is that? Yeah, format. Yeah, the initial position. Do you want to use that end of the file to start reading from the end of the file? That means latest transaction that will be having that at the start. Or if you define the start of the file to start reading from the beginning of the file. Beginning of the file, the oldest, I mean the previous events which are happened that is in that start of the file, right? Yeah, so you can define that initial position. Do you need the start of the file or end of the file? Under log group name, yes, with this group name, it is going to creating or updating the data of this file to the CloudWatch. This is a log group name, which is going to create it in the CloudWatch. Yeah, there are all the properties which we can use it to stream the EC2 instance related the logs data to the CloudWatch. Now let me save this file. But if we have done any configuration modification of in this file, then we need to restart the service. Yes, so let me restart the service, which we are doing that start. Let me stop it and let me start once again because we have modified especially region information, right? Yes, after restarting, now if you go back and if you just observe this in the log group section, yes, now you see that one group it has been created. So with the group name as a var log messages. What is this group name is? If you just re-verify the AWS logs.conf file, so this is the group name. So with this group name, it is created one group in the CloudWatch. And now this file content, it is updating in this group with the stream name as instance ID. Now if I open this log group, so in this log group, now you can see this log stream. One stream it is having. What is the stream? This is about our instance ID. So if I click on this instance ID, then we will get it, all the logs which are happened. Yeah, the last 12 hours. So what are the events that's we have? You can get it that. So all the logs information over here. So is it clear about it? So how to configure or how to push the logs from the EC2 instance to the CloudWatch? Yeah, if you'd like to understand the steps, so what we were doing, the first one is, so go to the EC2 instance and create one role, and a role should be attached to the EC2 instance. That is the first requirement. Second requirement is what we need to do is we need to go to the EC2 instance and install the package, that is AWS Logs package. Then configuration files, where the configuration files are located. Normally configuration files, where those are located, etc folder, right? Yeah, and the etc AWS Logs is the folder which contains about these two configuration files, that is AWS CLI.conf file and AWS logs.conf file. Yes, in the AWS CLI.conf file, which you can define about the region, and AWS logs.conf file, which you can define the group name and that group related details. That is about which log file related. You can change it. I mean, if you have this other log file, suppose the Tomcat is running Tomcat server related log, you need to all that logs you need to push into the CloudWatch logs. Yes, you can define one more stream and specify about that Tomcat server log file location and instance name, or yeah, how do you want to identify on the basis of the host name. Yes, you can define the host name and a buffer frequency and with the date and time format and a group name. Yeah, all those properties you can define it. And if I do this any configurations here, you need to restart the service. What is the service name is AWS Logs D. You have the log, you have the lab for this. Yes, try to complete the lab in the AWS lab section. Is it clear? Now, if you verify this where log messages, some actions, now retention period is one of the important thing. That means what are the logs which are log streams which are updating here, by default retention is never expire. That means these logs are the permanent, but we can configure that retention settings. That is, I need that for my instance last 1 week logs only. If it is the development environment or testing environment, then maybe there's a 1 week is more enough. But I don't want to keep it as long as, yes, I need that last 1 week, the logs of this stream. Then you can configure it. Retention period you will be having this last 1 week. 1 week logs which you will be having, and the oldest one which will be automatically deleted. And the data protection, it is saying this inactive. Yes, we didn't enable that any data protection policies. Yes, if the policy is defined, protection policy, that means any one unexpected deletion is happening, that it is not going to allowing that. And here one more important option, you see that export data to Amazon S3. Yes, we can store it, all these log messages, this entire group. You have that, suppose here in this log group, into this log group, you can take it all the 10 EC2 instances related the logs and you can upload it to the same group. But within the group, how you are going to identify which instance? Yes, that is on the basis of that instance ID or instance name, you can get the logs information. Yeah, so here we have configured one EC2 instance, one EC. If you have one more EC2 instance, yes, you can try to configure it one more also, then that instance related logs you can get it. So the log groups, yes, the data protection, retention, and you can export the data to the S3. So that is as a backups, which you can store into that Amazon S3. Yeah, where that S3 bucket is available in the same account, or is it that's in another account? Yes, if it's the same account, what is the bucket name? Yes, you can create a bucket and choose that bucket and with the prefix. Yes, how do you want to identify this? If you have any prefix in that bucket to manage it, these log files, yes, you can use it, prefix name, and you can export the data to the S3. So you will be having that log files storing in the S3. S3 versioning has been enabled. Even that logs have been deleted also, you will be having the backups, right? As S3 concepts, if you remember it. Yeah, so that's the concept, the log groups and the log groups which you can define it, either exporting the data or exported data, you can view it. And you can go to that log group, and in the log groups, you can access the log streams. And here, these log streams, we can perform some actions like what are the actions if you just observe that? View logs insights. Suppose here also you can direct text about it. That is a logs insights. It is kind of you can define about your own queries to get it the data. Suppose whenever it is having the more transaction, then it is going to have so many log files, right? So many transactions. But I need to find it error related the transactions. So you need to apply some filters. Yeah, logs you are getting into the CloudWatch. But after getting that into the CloudWatch, but how do you want to analyze it if some error is there? Yes. So then how do you go ahead and how do we define the filter options? Yes, in the action section, you can view in the logs insights, you can select it. And here you can use the queries. Yeah, logs insights. Now we are applying that which group? Yes, you can select that, the log group name. Yes, in this log group. Then what is the query that you want to apply that? Yeah, filter on this instance ID and the fields, the timestamp and message. Yes, so now it is showing about it. And now you can see what is this, the filter we have applied is log stream name is that is on the base of instance ID. And there are the fields which are trying to print it. That is a timestamp and a message. Now in the visualization, so line, but it is not getting. Yeah, so we got it the 5 records. Now, yesterday, which you are observing that in the visualizations, like in the dashboard, adding that. Yes, you can add to the dashboard also. I'll come back to show that. No visualizations available by default. It is not showing any visualizers. Anyway, we can add to the dashboard and you can view that. I'll come back. But first, let me just talk it that about this query. How do we define the queries? Yeah, so here you can get that help on the query. So what? How do you get it? The query help is yes. What are the fields that you can add it in this? Suppose I would like to add it some other fields. How I can add it the fields? Yes, here you can see that the field section. Yeah, the log stream name or at the rate of message or at the rate of timestamp or at the rate of yeah ingestion time. So you can identify that the fields and you can add the fields to the query. Or filters. Yes, if you would like to add the filters. Yes, what are the filters that I can apply it? Yeah, filter message like suppose if you're expecting about it any exception or error or fail. So filter, if you like to apply this one, yes, you can just say the supply option. Then you will get it. That query. So now we are going to try to filter that message which is having either any exception or error or failed. Then I will get that data over here. That means I don't need to go to that each and every line verifying about it. Do I have that any exceptions or the failures? So I don't need to go and refer that. So if I prepare this query and if I save this query, yes, this is my errors, the log string, errors log insight. a log group, and this is the query text. So you can save the query, and after saving this one, then what are the logs? But we don't have any logs now, which are having exception or error or fail. That's why no logs are available. You can add to the dashboard. So as we were trying to understand yesterday, do you have any dashboards? I hope so. I have deleted. So let me create a new dashboard. This is error logs dashboard, and the table format is yes widget type logs table, and this is the log group name, and you can add to the dashboard, and you can see this all the errors which are happening in that where log messages. If it is any message like exception or error or fail, then you will get it that log message over here. In the dashboard itself, you can get it that information, or if you need that even that email notification, you can configure in the metric side alarms yesterday which are talking that yes, you can use it to this logs based metric, and you can configure that email notification also. Are you clear about this? Understanding that the logs insights. So first, bringing the logs to the CloudWatch is one thing. That's logs data that is configured in the streamlines. Then once that logs data is available, then how you are going to identify that exceptions or the errors? Yes, we can take that the existing queries, you can save it. Yes, you can create a query, or you can find it the sample queries on the particular services, or you can use it the query help to generate about that filter or fields or statistics or the sorting option, or how many columns so that you want to print it, limit to 10 or limit to 20, 30. So you can find it what are the like a different option that we can add it in the message, and you can apply that query, or you can save the queries, and you can reuse the queries as well as. So is it clear? So how do we get it the logs from the EC2 instance, and how do we analyze that logs in the log sites, log insights? Is it clear about it? Yeah, so now this is the data which we are getting, and in the visualizations it is not showing that, but yes, you can add directly to the dashboard. Already we have the error logs. Let me add it. Yes, add to the dashboard. In the dashboard itself, I can see the log messages. Yes. So like this, we can get it from the log stream, and what is the log file, and what is the message, what is the timestamp, and the number. This is a format the which is having, and which you can use it this widget, which is supporting in the better view. Yeah, very, very important. The troubleshooting whenever we talk it, log aggregation is very, very important. So we don't go to the log into that each and every EC2 instance and verify that the logs errors. We use it, the stream options. We have that external one, elastic log stash, that is ELK, the which we have that Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. So Kibana is kind of in our AWS, if you just talk it, logs insights is the Kibana, that is a dashboard mechanism. And the streaming mechanism, that is the log groups creation and everything, that is Elasticsearch. And here storing is which we have that, that is in S3. So like that, Elasticsearch is the database in the ELK. Now we have external tools also for the log aggregation, but cloud point of view, AWS team, they have given that log groups and with the log insights. So first collect that logs to the log groups. And once you have that log streams, on that log streams, you can apply the queries or filters. Yeah, this is the overall concept, important sections from the CloudWatch, which we should know. That is 4 sections. The one is dashboards with the metrics, or dashboards with the logs. That is one section. And another section which we are trying to understand, alarms. Yes, alarm is metric-based actions. That is another section. And events, that is event-based actions. Like some state has been changed, or some scheduler based activity if you like to perform it, then events are going to help in that. And finally, troubleshooting point of view, yeah, if you like to trace that the logs information, then you can create a log groups and you can analyze that logs information in the logs insights. So metrics are going to helping that performance related metrics, that is CPU utilizations, network in, network out, discrete operations, all those points that's belong to metrics related, that is runtime or performance related statistics. But troubleshooting, whenever we talk it, that the, the CloudWatch log groups and CloudWatch logs insights are helping that to analyze the issues. Yeah, so that's all the concepts which we have this from the CloudWatch. Is it clear? Any queries, questions, please? Yeah. Tomorrow we have this one more section, that is AWS CLI, that is a command line interface. So with that, we can the main services we can conclude it from the AWS as a course curriculum point of view. And Monday onwards, we go for the starting the DevOps. In that DevOps, the first which we should know, that Git version controlling tool. Yes, we started that. Then Terraform. Terraform, whenever we are coming back, then again we touched about the AWS. Yeah, next all that DevOps related the tools, whatever we are going to talk with that is completely having the dependency on AWS. AWS with, but we are not going to launch it manually. So everything we are going to do that automation. So far, all the concepts we are trying to learning about it. In the AWS, what do we have? That's we are trying to learning about that important services. But these services which we should know, how do we automate it? Yeah, that is the next in the DevOps which will come back. That is with the Terraform. But tomorrow we should know this one more small activity also. CLI operations, how do you do that? Command line interface. So that's we will discuss about it. And Monday onwards, we'll start it about that. So that is about version controlling tool, one of the important tool from the DevOps side. And all the labs are available in the AWS lab section. Please refer it and try to complete the labs. Whatever I'm discussing about these logs point of view, and yesterday whatever we discussed about metrics and with alarms, everything that is there in the lab guides. So please check it and try to complete it and work it on it. Yeah, so that's all from my side. Any queries, questions, please? Okay, thank you all. I'm going to log off and we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you all.